is yet to come. Too many times has come to pass. Too many moments put aside. Getting out alive, getting out alive. Writing letters in the sand. Lost to ocean's gentle hand. Through the sunrise I will thrive. Getting out alive, getting out alive. When you find that open door, you gotta let them love you more.
To take it by force.
Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes,
You are.
that's a commitment we made. That's a commitment we made. We are not, look, here's the situation. We agree with a one China policy. We signed on to it and all the attendant agreements made from there. But the idea that it can be taken by force, just taken by force, is just not appropriate. It will dislocate the entire region and be another action similar to what happened in Ukraine.
I'm going to attempt to talk about something that is extremely hard to talk about. I understand that my version of it is probably the watered down and simplified version. What I'm saying today is not the complete picture because there is way too many legs to this, too many plot twists. There's too many things going on. I am going to attempt to articulate it the best I can and to make a few points when it comes to China versus the United States or United States versus China. I'm going to put USA first. But it's a difficult subject, and I know it can be a sensitive subject for some. And I'm not a master or a pro in diplomacy or foreign policy, but I will try my best to help you understand what the indicators are for shit hits the fan and what to look for.
So the Quad has a lot of work ahead of us. It's the fact of the matter is that we have a lot of work to do, keeping this region peaceful and stable, tackling this pandemic and the next one, and addressing the climate crisis as referenced by our new colleague, ensuring that technologies of the future are governed according to our values, But in a short time, we've shown the Quad isn't just a passing fad. We mean business. We're here to get things done for the region, and I'm proud of what we're building together, and I look forward to our vital partnership flourishing and for many years to come.
This is a very serious thing that happened and occurred in the South China Sea. This is full aggression from the United States, India, Australia, and Japan. I don't know if you know how serious this is and what the Quad is. The Quad is literally the Asian NATO. Look at the NATO countries. Just do me a favor, look at them. They're all the countries surrounding Russia. Now go look at the Quad. It's all the countries around the coast of China. U.S. aggression. But it's okay because we're combating Chinese aggression. So I'm not for or against the Quad, but I do understand that this is an indicator of military positioning in the South China Sea. I know what China's doing. I know what the U.S. is doing. Do not ignore it. A lot of people that I have the conversations with about going to war with China or the possibility of war with China, you bring up things like this, they're either oblivious to it, they don't care to know the facts. But this is military posturing at its finest. And of course, these countries are playing chess, not checkers. and the Quad was established as a checkmate for China. So I'm curious to see what comes out of this, and I'm also curious to see what China's response is to the Quad.
China has stepped up its diplomatic assault on Australia over our demands for an investigation into how COVID-19 started. The Prime Minister forced to stand his ground against an aggressive Beijing, souring positive news about our road to recovery.
Between China and Australia appear to be further deteriorating. China's state-owned tabloid Global Times reports that the country's top economic planner has approved power plants to import thermal coal without clearance restrictions from several countries, except for Australia.
Right now, walk us through just kind of the impact we're seeing downstream in particular, and how do you parse through the winners and losers right now?
Yeah, hi there. As you said, the power shortages are still ongoing. I think we've got a count of 20 provinces where there are electricity curbs, principally because of very high coal prices, which is causing power generators to shut down and power rationing in the provinces. You mentioned Toyota there. Now, the details are quite sketchy, but Toyota, which makes, I think, 1 million vehicles a year in China, has said has had some impact from the power shortages. So that's a big name being affected. We're not sure of the details yet, but it's a big name being affected, whereas before we were talking, about textile plants, toy plants, some auto parts and things like that.
You know what I hate? I hate when I hear people say that what happens over there doesn't impact us over here. Coal was banned from being imported from Australia, which caused China to significantly lose their ability to provide electricity for their people. There were some reports of 80% of China without electricity. They actually had to cut off and restrict electricity use for the civilians. And they said some of it can go towards power plants and military. So yes, the shortage and supply shortage that we've experienced and we're experiencing now is because of what happened with the coal that was banned from import because Australia decided to show some balls and have some aggression towards China and say we want to independently review and research why COVID-19 started. What is the origins of it? China got butthurt and banned, and there was a trade war, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. So do not say, as you as a prepper, as a civilian, as a human, do not say what happens over there doesn't impact us over here. It is very ignorant. That is the second indicator. I call it Cold Wars.
Beijing has long called for peaceful reunification with Taiwan, but it has also never ruled out using force against Taiwan's democratically elected government.
There are around 55,000 U.S. troops in Japan alone. We joined the 3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines on the island of Okinawa in the rain for a training exercise. Lieutenant Robert Booker's platoon is defending this patch of jungle against attackers sneaking up on them.
The enemy in this exercise is another U.S. platoon, but there isn't a Marine involved today that doesn't know this is a rehearsal for a possible Chinese invasion of Taiwan.
When you're doing these kinds of exercises these days, is Taiwan on your mind?
100%.
It is it?
Yes, ma'am. Especially looking at the terrain, things like that. This is what we would encounter there.
The island of Taiwan considers itself independent. China maintains it's not. Yesterday, President Biden reiterated that the U.S. would intervene if China moved to seize it by force.
90% of the most advanced chips in the world are made in Taiwan. TSMC. TSMC is a private company in Taiwan, mostly state-run. The F-35 jet chip is made in Taiwan. The new oil of the world is chips, silicone. Your car, your smartphone, your computer, your tablet, military installations, their computers, missiles, You name it, all TSMC. 90% of the smartest, thinnest, smallest chips are made there. That is the number one reason I believe China wants them. Outside of it being on its border, outside of them being in an area where they can be boxed in by the US. The semiconductor race is a real one. It's a reason why if Taiwan gets invaded, the US should just blow it up, in my opinion. Level it completely so China can't get its hands on it, on that fob. It takes 10 years to build a factory. They're called fobs. It takes 10 years and about $8 billion to $10 billion to build a functional fob that can create semiconductors at the quality that TSMC does. Right now, I think their process is like 3 nanometers. So it's a very small chip. Very high-end chips. These high-end chips are produced all over the world by this small country that claims to be independent. And I believe that if China invades Taiwan, your phones, your computers, your cars, all that production will be on pause. You will be extremely affected. The trucks that carry shipment from one side of the country to the other will be impacted. The supply chain for food, supply chain for water, supply chain for housing, shelter, the basics will be gone. Listen to me, prepper community. This is something to take very serious. If Taiwan is invaded, your life can potentially be in danger, harmed, or lost because of a supply shortage and the panic that's going to happen. Trust me when I say this. There's going to be a panic, and it's going to directly impact you here in the United States. East Coast, West Coast, the South, or the North, Northeast, Northwest, doesn't matter. TSMC is a major player in this.
Well, you could think of this as a new arms race, Nicole. Russia's deployment of hypersonic missiles in Ukraine could be the first time in the world these missiles have ever been used on the battlefield. Now, on the American side, just this week, as you mentioned, the U.S. Air Force said it had conducted a successful test of a hypersonic weapon as well. And that test happening Saturday off the coast of Southern California. These hypersonic weapons move 5 times faster than the speed of sound, and their speed and maneuverability make them difficult to track and intercept. So far, the U.S., Russia, and China have been developing these capabilities. So what does that mean for the arms race? And is the U.S. falling behind?
You're probably wondering why I keep playing a bunch of news articles. I love the news articles, and here's why. I understand war. I understand the propaganda machine. I'm showing you different news broadcasters and their opinion and the propaganda wheel that they're spinning. If you pay close attention, you'll see how the American public is being told about how dangerous China is and how much of a threat they are and how they can hurt us. And so it's the propaganda wheel that's getting us mentally ready and prepared for some type of conflict with China and possibly Russia. That is how the U.S. has been designed for 100 years. Propaganda has been something that's probably been going on for thousands. You don't need a TV, Instagram, or Facebook to run propaganda. You can do it through an article. You can do the newspaper, the radio waves, like the 40s, right? Look at the U.S. propaganda wheel. Look at the Chinese propaganda wheel. China is probably spinning articles and news broadcasts about how dangerous we are. And we're doing the same. Whenever I see the news focus so heavily on one thing, I get very suspicious. I'm very suspicious of an upcoming war with China within the next 5 to 10 years. And I think it is something that will happen and is going to happen. It's inevitable. And 5 to 10 years from now, if this video is still up, I want you to go back to it and remember that you had 5 to 10 years to prepare. The last indicator to look at is the new arms race. In the 40s, late 40s, 50s, 60s, it was the nuclear arms race. Now we're talking about hypersonic missile arms race. A missile that can have a nuclear warhead on it that cannot be detected by radar. Cheyenne Mountain, I think it is the one that detects any type of nuclear missiles coming into this country. China successfully has their own, Russia has their own, US has their own. Different technologies, all running the same speed. I think China's trying to launch them from space. Correct me if I'm wrong. We are in a new arms race. There's trade wars, there's new allies and treaties going on, there's conflict, there's supply chain shortages. Look at the world around you. The economy now is being crashed on purpose. All these mass shootings that look suspicious, they look like false flag events to disarm the public. Yes, I said it. And I don't think that the people who were murdered were not real. I think they were real, but I think there's something going on that's very fishy. And so just look around you. Something's happening, something's stirring. My prediction is this. I believe China will invade Taiwan. Russia and China have a secret backdoor deal to get what they want. Russia wants Ukraine, China wants Taiwan. Russia is going to get the United States to spend its resources and get tied up in the Ukraine war so China can move in Taiwan. We sent about 25% of our Stinger missile stockpile to Ukraine, 25%. And because there's a chip shortage and there's a material shortage, we cannot reproduce these missiles. It almost seems as if China and Russia are trying to deplete the United States of its resources and its military capability because they know they cannot defeat us head on. So they'll have us engaged in these small wars. Just a prediction. Let's see what happens. So, prepper community, get yourself right. Get your families right. Get your bug outs right. Get your bug ins right. Dot your I's. Cross your T's. Let's see what this year brings.